Good afternoon and welcome to San Diego Mesa College Recital Hour. For those of you that are joining us for the first time, Recital Hour is a course as well as a concert series that is put on by San Diego Mesa College where we feature local artists, generally in a performance space, but lately we've been doing it as live streams for all the world to see. Today we have a special guest, Mike Flynn, who is going to be playing a little bit different of a style of music than you normally would see in an academic setting. But I think diversity is the key in all the things that we do, such as our music. And so this has more of a bluegrass bend to it. And to interview him, I'm going to pass it off to a special friend and chair of the music department, Dr. N. Scott Robinson, who is familiar with Mike Flynn and his work before this. And so he thought he would be the best to interview him. So thank you to Dr. Robinson for the interview, and thank you to Mike Flynn for the concert, and I hope everyone enjoys.
Welcome, students. My name is Mike Flynn. Thanks to Mesa College, it is my pleasure to present to you a brief presentation regarding the roots of American music and beyond. I've been a working musician for the past 40 years. I play many genres of music, and I'm excited to perform a few styles for you today, so let's get started. On this virtual recital, I will be joined by a few different musicians who were glad to be part of this program. The first song was written in 1911 by Howard Odum. It's called Salty Dog Blues. This song is a good representation of the ragtime style of guitar playing of the early 20th century. Accompanying me on guitar, mandolin, and backup vocals for 6 songs today is multi-instrumentalist Gordon Bunker Strout. Standing in the corner with the low-down blues, great big hole in the bottom of my shoe. Honey, let me be your salty dog. Baby, let me be your salty dog. I don't want to be your man at all. Honey, let me be your salty dog. Gal, I know you want a stocking and a low-down blue. Honey, let me be your salty dog. Baby, let me be your salty dog. I don't want to be your man at all. Honey, let me be your salty dog. Gal, I know you want out low-down blues. Honey, let me be your salty dog. Baby, let me be your salty dog. I don't want to be your man at all. Honey, let me be your salty dog. Salty dog, salty dog. Honey, let me be your salty dog. Standing in the corner with the low-down blues, great big hole in the bottom of my shoe. Honey, let me be your salty dog. Baby, let me be your salty dog. I don't want to be your man at all. Honey, let me it be your salty down, salty down, salty down. Honey, let it be your salty down, salty down, salty down. Honey, let me be your salty down. The next three songs touch on acoustic country blues, bluegrass, and a more recent example of blues from the 1970s. First up is Candyman. This was written in 1928 by Mississippi John Hurt. This song represents the country blues style of the 1920s. Next up is Rolling in My Sweet Baby's Arms. This was recorded in 1951 by Flatt and Scruggs, who were one of the first bluegrass pioneers, along with Bill Monroe, the father of bluegrass music. The third song, I Got the Same Old Blues, was written and recorded by J.J. Cale in 1974. His songwriting draws from the early blues styles of performers of the past. With that candy man, I said, been and gone. With candy man, I said, been and gone. With candy man, I said, been and gone. Wish I was in New Orleans, sitting on a candy stand. With that candy man, I say salt it down. With candy man, I cry salt it down. With candy man, I say salt it down. I can't see that salt it down. Don't be a candy man. When I run to the corner, get my baby some bread. Run to the corner, get my baby some bread. Run to the corner, get my baby some bread. Well, run to the corner, get my baby some bread. Run to the corner, get my baby some bread. Wish I was in New Orleans, sitting on a candy stand. One more time. With that candy man, I said, been and gone. With candy man, I cried, been and gone. With candy man, I said, been and gone. Wish I was in a New Orleans, sitting on a candy stand. Well, I wish I was in New Orleans, sitting on the candy stand. Well, I wish I was. 1, 2, 3, oh. Rolling in my sweet baby's arms, rolling in my sweet baby's arms. I'm gonna lay round the shed till the train goes back, rolling in my sweet baby's arms. I ain't gonna work on the railroad, I ain't gonna work on the farm. I'm gonna lay round the shed till the train goes back, rolling in my sweet baby's arms. Rolling in my sweet baby's arms, rolling in my sweet baby's arms. Gonna lay round the shack till the train gets back, rolling in my sweet baby's arms. Now where were you last Friday night while I was lying in jail, roaming the streets with love and pain? Go my way, rolling in my sweet baby's arms, rolling in my sweet baby's arms. Gonna lay round the shack till the train get back, rolling in my sweet baby's arms. Ain't gonna work on the railroad, I ain't gonna work on the farm. I'm gonna lay round the shed till the train get back, rolling in my sweet baby's arms, rolling in my sweet baby's arms, rolling in my sweet baby's arms. I'm gonna lay round the shed till the train get back, rolling in my sweet baby's arms. Gonna lay round the shack till the mid train comes back, rolling in my sweet baby's arms. Have you heard that rumor that's going round? You got it made way across town. It's the same old story. Tell me, where does it end? Yeah, I heard the news. It's the same old blues again. When I wrote you a letter, you must have read it wrong. I stood in your doorway, but you were gone. Took a whole lot of courage and let the telephone ring. It's the same old blues, same old blues again. When you give me the business, you know I get a mind. 'Cause I got a lot of patience and I got a lot of time. It's the same old story. Tell me, where does it end? It's the same old blues again. Me a mountain, I'm gonna hide out. I ain't talking to you, and I ain't coming out. Yeah, I heard that rumor. Tell me, where does it end? It's the same old blues again. It's the same old blues again. It's the same old blues again. Okay, so why don't we mix it up for the next three songs? Jamaica. Jamaicans have been listening to American music for decades. In the late 1950s, AM radio from Memphis and New Orleans were reaching Jamaica, and the R&B and Motown sounds greatly influenced Jamaican artists. Last week, I had the pleasure to do a live stream with recording artist P-Dub. These original songs were recorded at Daydream Farm, which is a beautiful local music space here on the East Coast. The first song is Sometimes I, followed by Blue Monday, which I play lap steel on, and the last song is $1 Million Man. Enjoy. You! Ooh, yeah! Hey! Life's so rough, life's so tough, and you think that you ain't gonna make it. Time getting hard, getting so hard, and you know you've been breaking. What can you do? Where will you go when you want to escape it? Sometimes it feels real bad, but I know you're gonna make it. Forget the day, you're drifting away. You wish you were somewhere else, in a place you could play night and day. You could just be yourself, and you feel so old, trying to carry the load. You wanna throw it away, baby, hold on. Try to be strong, fight it out, come what may. Sometimes I wonder why, about all these games we play. If I had wings, I could fly, and I would take you away to a place we could be, living so happy and free. Dry your eyes, don't you cry, and we'll make it someday. You work hard for the money, but things don't work out right. Sometimes it's so damn shady, you really can't take it. Please don't give up the fight. And you feel so old, trying to carry the load. You wanna throw it away, baby, hold on. Try to be strong, tomorrow's another day. Sometimes I wonder why, about all these games we play. If I had wings and I could fly, then I would take you away to a place we could be, living so happy and free. Dry your eyes, don't you cry, and we'll make it someday.
everything you're going through now. Still searching for an answer. Don't know what you're gonna do now. Who can you call on? Where can you turn when you feel so blue now? Right now it feels real bad, but you're gonna pull through somehow. Forget the day when you're drifting away. You wish you were somewhere else, in a place you could play night and day. You could just be yourself. You feel so alone, way home, trying to carry the load. Baby, hold on, try to be strong, fight it out, come what may. Sometimes I wonder why, about all these games we played. If I had wings and I could fly, then I would take you away to a place we could be, living so happy and free. Dry your eyes, don't you cry, and we'll make it someday. Baby, sometimes I wonder why, about all these games we play. If I had wings, we could fly, I would take you away to a place we could be, living so happy and free. Dry your eyes, don't you cry, we'll make it someday, yeah. Ooh. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's that Hoboken tone. I have been to the Delta. I got my bona fides. It's a blue, blue Monday. I don't wanna get out of bed. I've been thinking about all that you said, and I don't wanna live without you, 'cause I love everything about you, and I know I'm never gonna find, never gonna find, never gonna find. No, I'm never gonna find, never gonna find, never gonna find another love like you. Whoa, whoa, but baby, another love like you. Hey, I can hear the rain on the windows. Why this awful kind of feeling comes and goes. There's only you. Tell me we can make it through, 'cause I know I'm never gonna find, never gonna find, never gonna find. No, I'm never gonna find, never gonna find, never gonna find another love like you, baby. Ow, ow, dub it, dub it, dub it. Flinzy. Woo. Yup, yup, yeah. Yup, yup, yeah. Ay, ay, ay. Whoa, yeah. I can already smell the barbecue, man. Yeah. This one here is called $1 Million Man. I wrote this one with Jesus when we were in high school. That's how old this one is. He did most of the lyric writing. Just a pauper, I'm living out on the street. No money in my pocket, but I sure can do it sweet. Hey, yes, I'm just a pauper, ramming to the beat. No money in my pocket, baby, but I do it sweet. $1 Million Man. Hey, Mr. $1 Million Man. Was a $1 million man, I'd still be the lover that I am. Believe it. My brothers and my sisters understand. Whoa, this reggae music is a part of Jaja plan. Believe that, hey, but I'm just a pauper, ramming to the beat. No money in my pockets, but I sure can do it sweet. Yes, I'm just a pauper, living on the street. Money in my pocket, boy, I can do it sweet. $1 Million Man. Yeah, it's the $1 Million Man. Yo, Foxy. You found me, George. Love you, man. My henchman. If I was $1 million man, Rich me said, I still would be the lover that I am. Truth. My brothers and my sisters understand. This reggae music is a part of Jaja's plan. Ooh, but I'm just a pauper. I've been living on the streets. No money in these pockets, baby, but I can do it sweet. Yes, I'm just a pauper, ramming to the beat. Money in my pockets, darling, but you know I'm gonna do it sweet. $1 Million Man. Woo! Mr. $1 Million Man. Yeah. $1 Million Man. Mr. $1 Million Man. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, 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 oh. Million. Oh. Mr. Million. Call me. Yes, Foxy. How about you, Flynn? If you had $1 million, would you change?
$1 million?
Or would you still be that same two-fisted slide guitar playing SOB that you are, that we love?
I need more like 10. I think I need 10.
10? Yeah, 10, I might change a little if I had 10.
These last 4 songs focus on more recent great American songwriters, with one caveat, a couple of roughnecks from England, the Rolling Stones. The Rolling Stones, along with all of the British invasion groups in the 1960s, were greatly influenced by American roots music. The first song is written by an American songwriter and performer, Guy Clark, and is called Water Under the Bridge. Secondly is a song written by country music artist John Anderson in 1992 and is called Seminole Wind. The third song was written and recorded in 1968 by the Rolling Stones and is called No Expectations. Finally, to close the musical portion of the day, is a song entitled Tear My Still House Down, written and recorded by Gillian Welsh in 1996. I'd like to thank Mesa College for inviting me to play some music for you all, and thank you, the students, for participating in today's virtual concert. Baptized me one fine day down at the river's edge. All my sins are washed away like water under the bridge. I had a little girl and her eyes were blue. She lived just over the ridge. Her love ran deep and her love ran true like water under the bridge. Sailing away on a paper boat as far as I can go, all the way to New Orleans and the Gulf of Mexico. Now the river run clear and the river run clean, the river run rough sometimes. The river run wild and it runs serene, just like a friend of mine. Tie my troubles in a gunny sack, throw them over the edge. Sailing away and I won't be back like water under the bridge. Sailing away on a paper boat as far as I can go, all the way to New Orleans and the Gulf of Mexico. A saint and you might be a sinner, you might be Billy the Kid. You might crop out and roll a winter like water under the bridge. Sailing away on a paper boat as far as I can go, all the way to New Orleans and the Gulf of Mexico. Sailing away on a paper boat as far as I can go, all the way to New Orleans and the Gulf of Mexico. The Gulf of Mexico and the Gulf of Mexico.
away in the land of the Seminole. So blow, blow, Seminole wind, blow like you're never gonna blow again. I'm calling to you like a long lost friend. I know you're wrong. And blow, blow from the Okeechobee all the way up to Micanopy, across the home of the Seminole, the alligators and the guard. Progress came and took its toll in the name of flood control. They made the plans, then they drained the land. Now the glades are going dry. The last time I walked down in the swamp, I sat upon a cypress stump. I listened close and I heard the ghost of Osceola cry. I'm calling to you like a long lost friend, but I know you're wrong. And blow, blow from the Okeechobee all the way up to Micanopy, across the home of the Seminole, the alligators and the guard. Well, take me to the station and put me on the train. I got no expectation to pass through here again. Once I was a rich man, now I am so poor. But never in my sweet short life have I felt like this before. Put no stones in my head, no flowers on my tomb, no gold-plated sign in a marble-pillared room. The one thing that I want when they lay me in the ground, when I die, tear my still house down. Don't tear my still house down, let it go to rust. Don't leave no place or the hiding place where I made that evil stuff. Oh, my time and money, no profit did I see. That old copper kettle will be the death of me. When I was a child, way back in the hills, I laughed at those men who tended those stills. But that old mountain shine, it called me somehow. When I die, tear my still house down. Don't tear my still house down, let it go to rust. Don't leave no trace of the hiding place where I made that evil stuff. Whoa, my time and money, no profit did I see. That old copper kettle will be the death of me. Tell all your children that hell ain't no dream, 'cause Satan, he lies in a whiskey machine. And in my time of dying, I know where I'm bound. When I die, tear my still house down. Don't tear my still house down, let it go to rust. Don't leave no trace of the hiding place where I made that evil stuff. For all my time and money, no profit did I see. That old copper kettle dead to me. That old copper kettle will be dead to me.
For that. That was a really excellent acoustic Americana popular music concert, Michael Flynn. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm Dr. N. Scott Robinson. I'm stepping in for Ian Bassett in this week's Recital Hour. And we have with us guitarist, professional guitarist from the East Coast, Mike Flynn, who's going to start off telling us a little bit more about who he is and what he does and his background as a professional guitarist that plays in a variety of popular music styles. Mike, take it away.
How are you? How are you, Scott?
All right. Good to see you.
My background in music is I'm self-taught, and I started when I was probably in sixth grade of grammar school, and I played, folk masses, and just little by little learned uh, how to play the instrument. And I'm 57 now, and I've been playing ever since. Not professionally, but semi-professionally, I would say. I mean, I've opened up for big acts and cruise ships and that kind of stuff.
Hmm. Well, when you mentioned the folk masses, I mean, how did you go about learning to play the guitar if you weren't actually taking lessons?
Well, my brother Robert, he took lessons, and he passed away since then. And he would the guitar teacher would come to our house and teach him his lesson, and I would just hide like behind the couch and listen to these lessons. And I was probably maybe in fourth grade at the time, and I would listen and listen, and then eventually he would show me like an A chord and a D chord, and just have me strum those two chords, and he would solo over them until my arm fell off. And then, he would show me a G chord, and little by little, listening to records and trying to get fingering on my own. This was before the internet, so you had to kind of just try to learn it yourself, and maybe had a friend that played a little bit, and we kind of taught each other.
Hmm. So you use your ear obviously a lot for that process when you listen to records and are trying to pick out the chords or what the guitar player is playing in a solo. I mean, did you start off, copying solos of your favorite guitarists on from records?
Um, I had a few of like there was a Jerry Lee Lewis album. It was a live from London, and the guitar players, there was like seven different guitar players on that record, and I just spent like a full year just like trying to figure out the solos because they were so good. So you know my tried listening to different types of music, and like really like one good album, and it was a Frank Marino and Mahogany Rush album. Tried to learn like all the stuff off it, and it was just done by ear. Maybe not note for note, but just to get the feeling of that particular player.
Hmm. Now, in the kind of music that you play blues, rock, funk, reggae, country, just about every one of those styles you're called upon to improvise. And in some of those musics, like songs by Jimi Hendrix, you can't just play a pentatonic scale all the time. You have to change with the chords and the keys, I think, when the music does that. Um, can you talk about how you learn to improvise and what some of the different requirements are when you play, say, a Jimi Hendrix song versus a country song or slide guitar versus blues or Stevie Ray Vaughan piece? Like, how did you learn to improvise and what are some of the different things a guitar player like yourself would need to know to improvise correctly in those styles?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, I would say, like, with like Jimi Hendrix, I mean, it's his music was, I mean, it was from the heart, and you had to really like just like listen to what he was, going through in each piece, and just try to get that kind of feeling. And like whereas country music is it's a little more, I guess you'd call it like technical. You'd have to learn like those fast riffs, which are like, specific, key, different keys, key changes. Whereas like with Hendrix, it was a lot more feel. And even though it was extremely technical, it was more, more attitude, I guess you'd call it. Country, jazz, there's a little more technical aspect to that, and plenty of feel, but you need to play fast enough and clean enough to get that country riff out. Uh, you know, uh, Reggae music, same thing. It's more of a feel kind of thing.
Hmm. Now, a thing that guitar players do in these styles, if you think of blues and country and even rock players, is bending of the
Mm.
strings. Jazz players don't bend as much, but those guitarists that play those styles, they really rely on bending to really make the music come alive. Can you talk about what some of the differences are between, say, a player like B.B. King and maybe Stevie Ray Vaughan, and how they bend, and how do you go about learning these different approaches to bending?
Mm. Like Stevie Ray Vaughan, when he would bend, he would kind of pick up that, if he was bending a high E string, he would pick up that second string in the bend, and it would, uh, you know, you'd hear like almost two notes coming out of it, or just like a crunch on that second one. BB King, I mean, his bends are so distinguishable. He was a one note bender, just single string stuff. But the way he, played with that bend, is very distinguishable. Country guys mimic a lot of pedal steel work as guitar players when they're doing the bends. So they would be like kind of there would be like one note would be bending, and maybe there'd be two other notes in the bend to give it that pedal steel effect. Um,
Hmm.
what else? Yeah.
So, what about the sound of guitars? When you're called upon to play like Jerry Garcia or Carlos Santana or even Chuck Berry, you obviously have studied the records to learn the style that they play in as far as the notes goes. But what about the actual sound of the guitar? There's a very different sound between someone like Jerry Garcia and Carlos Santana, for example. How do you get those kinds of sounds, or how do you learn to manipulate the electronics on the guitar and the amplifier to get those kinds of sounds?
Hmm. That's a good question. Um, like if you play a Stratocaster, it's going to sound like a Stratocaster. Les Paul is going to sound like a Les Paul. But if you're called to do like multiple types of genres in an evening, and you're only bringing one guitar, how do you get those sounds? So a couple ways that I've done it was, maybe you have a pedal, like if you're trying to get like the more Carlos Santana sound, maybe there's like an overdrive fuzz pedal that you could use to get his tone. But still, it really comes from your fingers, the instrument. Like if you gave Carlos Santana $119 Fender Squire, he would still sound like Carlos Santana, because it's his fingers, it's the way he plays, his approach, how hard he hits the string, how hard he's fretting. So obviously you need good gear, but the gear is not what gets you the tone or the sound.
Hmm.
It's a lot of practice, and it's a lot of it's your hands and your fingers too.
So, would you say that the way that the pick is used is part of getting that sound and timbre as well?
Absolutely. A good example is like playing acoustic guitar. Um, when you're playing an acoustic, the pick that you use, whether you maybe you use a nylon pick like Doc Watson did, or you have like these just like plastic fender picks, and then they make them out of different materials. You could really hear it on an acoustic guitar, the difference that a pick makes,
Huh.
whether it's warm, fast attack. Sometimes it's a slower attack if it's a warmer pick, warmer sounding pick. And sure, the pick has a lot to do with it, and just even the angle of the pick
Well,
makes
what's
it.
your favorite setup in terms of picks and amplifiers for guitars?
Oh man, I go through a lot of different picks. Lately, I've been using a nylon pick for my acoustic, and then a just like a regular I can't remember the name, the brand of it, but just a plastic pick, but has a star cut out of it. So when you grab it, it doesn't fall out of your fingers. Like where you grab it, there's a little star pick or something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then one of the things that musicians have to do in just about any type of ensemble is communicate with each other. And it's a difficult thing, I think, for students in music school to learn because they practice in a solitary manner so much. And then when they play together, they're not used to the experience of playing together and communicating. And yet, in all the ensembles that you play in, when you're subbing in a rock band or country or reggae, it's obviously very important and you do it so well. During a performance, there's this sort of visual communication. Can you talk about how you learn to do that and how important you think that is for musicians to learn?
Mm. I've always led my own band, so that was something that you had to get good at, especially if you were using subs, or you were introducing a new song that you were doing, and maybe you didn't get a chance to rehearse it, but you just maybe talked it through. Uh, Eye contact is very important, and just for the other musicians to know what kind of cues the leader is giving. They have to be subtle enough that the audience doesn't pick up too much on it. Sometimes it's just a little verbal cue on the mic, like if you could kind of even think something like we're coming to the end or whatever. But eye contact is extremely important. Just the way you're looking at somebody could cue them on, here, we're going around one more time, or I'm going to do an extended solo, so don't go to the bridge right now, because they could see me, maybe I'm digging into the solo, and like giving them a little look like, keep that thing going, because I want to extend my solo. But it's extremely important for a working musician. I play with probably 7 different bands, from bluegrass to New Orleans music to blues to I'm doing a George Harrison tribute in a couple weeks, to a reggae show streaming Saturday night. Uh, that's an interesting story. A friend of mine who's a Predator Dub Assassins, they're called, and he's probably got about 15 albums out. He wanted lap steel on a reggae song, so I had to come up with that, and he loved what I did. It's on the album, and now I'm doing the show with him. And I'm not, here comes lap steel and reggae music.
Wow. Well, when you're playing and you're improvising in a solo with a band, uh, how what role does the audience play in how you perform? When obviously your solos are improvised, they're not worked out, but when the club is packed and the people are responding, it's very different than when nobody's there and it's just the musicians playing. So does that affect your performance, and how does it? The
Absolutely, yeah. It absolutely affects your performance. A hot summer night with a jam-packed bar, you're just gonna, the instrument basically just plays by itself, because you're getting this energy back from, the audience, and you're giving it out, and it's like a simultaneous combustion. You don't know where it starts from. Are you turning the audience on and they're feeding off of you, or are they turning you on and you're feeding off of them? It's a pretty magical experience. And as somebody who basically improvises most solos, you really need that. You
So,
need
would you say while you're improvising, and if there is a really lively audience, in a way, you're almost keeping track of what's going on with your improv and its effect on the audience. You're kind of almost memorizing on the spot. If you play something and the audience responds right away, you make a real time decision to do that again or something. It changes your course of direction. Uh,
right, absolutely. It's your brain is always storing like things that make you happy or someone else happy, but it doesn't change when you're playing music. You play a certain, even speed. Like I don't play very fast, but once in a while I can play fast, but once in a while I'll just notice like it's time to like show these people that I could play with some speed. You know what I mean?
hmm.
You almost sense it. Whether it's like your bandmates or the audience, and you kind of make you think about. You're not even thinking really. You're just kind of reacting off of the audience that's there, and if they're if you could tell when you're having a good night, there's a certain amount of people that they're going to feel that too. Some people will just say, yeah, you sounded great no matter what you sounded like. But there's those, number of people that that if they feel it, that it's a good night.
Hmm. And then the last question I wanted to ask you about was you probably started off playing one kind of music in the sixth, seventh grade, right? I mean, I imagine it was probably the classic rock of the 70s. You weren't really interested in country music back then, were you?
Not really.
So now you play country and blues and rock and folk and funk and reggae, and you sort of play them all with an equal seriousness and love, you know. So how important is it for a professional musician like yourself that plays these kinds of popular musics to be that flexible musically?
Extremely important. And every type of music absolutely helps you with the other style of music. There's no doubt about it. Like, when I first started playing music, it was like, Aerosmith and Grateful Dead, Allman Brothers, Marshall Tucker, and then you start realizing like they're picking songs that happened, generations before them. And you start reaching back, and I started listening to Flat and Scruggs. But now when you listen to Flat and Scruggs, who are bluegrass, or Bill Monroe, bluegrass pickers, I mean, the speed that they play with, then you could listen to Van Halen and you're really hearing, there's no doubt about that. Van Halen listened to blues and bluegrass and that stuff when he was coming up because it's a different sound, but it still has that, the element of old time music.
So you find some of the common elements when you hear these musics and you respond to them now, you know, because of how you've developed as a musician.
You do. I mean, and it never hurts to learn, as many different styles of music as you can, and it also helps, getting hired for shows, that you can play. There, not different instruments, but definitely different styles of music.
Hmm. And then I suppose one follow-up question here to the last question is you play not only a bunch of different styles of popular music, but you also play very different guitars from the electric to the acoustic to the lap steel. Uh, you know, was it easy to pick all those up and slide guitar, or what did you have to do to learn those?
It's not easy, but the easy part of what I do with the different instruments is they're mainly six string instruments. I mean, I play a little bit of mandolin. I play an eight string kind of country style, a C6 tuning, lap steel. But like the lap steel is six string, the acoustics is six string, the electrics six string. Um, I like to play a fiddle, like to learn violin after being a guitar player. That would be a tough thing to do. I'm not I'm not gonna I'm not gonna go there, but
I'd love to learn fiddle, but like mandolin is a fretted instrument. Lap steel is more, you have to listen because there's no frets. So any kind of slide instrument, you have to have your ear kind of tuned into where it's going. I guess that's similar to a violin.
Huh. Wow. Well, it's really great to hear you speak about what you do. And we can't thank you enough for streaming all the way from the East Coast. And we hope you'll come back and join us again, and maybe even live one day if you can come out to California.
That would be great. Thank you so much, Scott.
It's really good to see you. Thanks again.
All right. Take it easy.